Hi everyone. So in the previous video we have already discussed the two versions of SJF of preemption and non-preemption version. Okay, so we have already discussed the two versions of algorithms, that is preemptive and non-preemptive. We have already discussed FCFS, SJF with preemption, or SRTF, shortest remaining time first, that is called SJF with preemption. So now in this video I am going to discuss with you the advantage and disadvantage of those two versions of algorithms, preemptive and non-preemptive. Okay, so let us focus on advantage. What are the main advantages that is gives a preemption version of algorithm and a non-preemption of algorithms? Okay, so first advantage is it gives the for SRTF, shortest remaining time first, that is called preemption version of algorithm. Okay, so if I say about the SRTF, then it gives the minimal average waiting time and the minimal average turnaround time. So first advantage is it gives the minimum average waiting time and minimum average turnaround time. See, if you take any problems or any numericals, if you solve any numericals or problems and you apply all the algorithms through that numericals and problems, there is no algorithms that will gives you the minimum average waiting time and turnaround time that the SRTF gives you. Okay, I am not saying that SJF with preemption, simply SJF, which is the non-preemption version. Okay, non-preemptive version, SJF with non-preemption version will not give you the average minimum average waiting time or minimum average turnaround time. I am not saying that. SJF with non-preemption version also gives you the minimum average waiting time and turnaround time, but SRTF guarantees you, which it guarantees you to gives you the minimal average waiting time and turnaround time. So I am giving an example. I am taking 5 processes like P1, P2, P3, P4 and P5. We have taken 5 processes and the arrival time, suppose 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. I am giving a simple examples and we check all the we take a numericals and we apply all the algorithms to that numericals and we check the how minimal average waiting time gives which algorithm gives the minimal average waiting time and turnaround time. Okay, so this is the arrival time of each processes and the burst time will be 5, 2, 1, 3, 1. I have taken the burst time like this and the arrival time of the each processes are given. So I hope you can able to draw the Gantt chart properly and correctly. If I solve this numericals in FCFS, the Gantt chart would be this type. See the FCFS version. So in FCFS, this is already, you know, this type of version is non-preemptive. We cannot forcefully remove any processes from the CPU when it is running, currently running process. Okay, we cannot remove the currently running process which is in CPU till its terminations. So the Gantt chart will be this type of, you can see. So P1 first P1 is arrived at the ready state and after that P2. So we have taken the burst time 0 to 5, then after that P2 will come to the ready state, so 5 to 7. So the burst time of the P2 is 2, then P3 has come in the ready state at the 2 millisecond. So we have in FCFS, the assumption is arrival time. We focus on arrival time. Which processes come first, we'll assign to the CPU first. So we taken the burst time as per this. Okay. So the final execution termination time will be 12. Okay. So first P1, P2, P3 will be 7 to 8, P4 will be 8 to 11. Okay. The burst time of the P4 is 3, so the termination is 11, and finally P5, which has come at last in the ready state, and as per the arrival time of the P5, so the P5 will execute last in the CPU for 12 milliseconds, okay, for 1 milliseconds. So the termination will be 12. If I solve this same numerical with SJF, okay, so what type of Gantt chart would be? So first we focused on the arrival time, which process comes at the ready state first, okay, P1. In SJF version, we assumption is in FCFS, assumption is we focused on arrival time, but when we talk about the SJF, we focused on CPU time, which process is having minimal burst time. But the minimal burst time here is 1 and 1, P3 and P5. So why we are not taking P3 and P5? Because the arrival time of the P3 is 2, arrival time of the P5 is 4. They have not come in the ready state yet. Okay. So the first is P1, which is come first. For how many milliseconds? For 5. So as this is the non-preemption version of algorithm, so we cannot forcefully remove that process from the CPU. Okay. So it will execute for 5 milliseconds. During 5 milliseconds, we cannot remove the process P1 forcefully. So after that, in 5 milliseconds, so in ready state at 5 milliseconds, there are all the process haven't arrived yet, okay, because P2 has already come at the 1 millisecond, P3 has already comes at 2 millisecond, P4 3 and P4 5. So at the 5 millisecond, there are all the processes here. So we are going through now. We have to focus on burst time, which is having minimal burst time. So 1 and 1. So if there is a tie, we apply the FCFS, first come first serve. Okay. So first, during the execution of P1, we cannot remove that process for 5 milliseconds. At the 5 millisecond, we have seen that all the processes have been arrived at the ready state. Okay. So now we have to focus on burst time, which is the minimal burst time. 1 and 1. This is the minimal burst time, that is P3 and P5. Okay. But if there is a tie, then we can apply the first come first serve. Okay. Which process is arrived first? P3 is arrived first. So we have taken P3. Then after that, for how many millisecond? The burst time of the P3 is 1. So 1 millisecond. Then after that, P5 is arrived. Okay. So P3 is arrived before P5. Okay. The burst time of the P5 is also minimum. So we have taken P5. How many time of execution time of P5 is 1 millisecond. Then after that, how many processes are there? P2 and P4. So P3, P5 has done and P1 also done. Then we have P2 and P4. So which is having minimum burst time, that is P2. So we have taken P2 for how many time? 2 millisecond, that is 9 millisecond, and finally P4 for 3 millisecond. So the termination time will be 12 millisecond. Okay. So this is the SJF non-preemption version. We focused on burst time, but the arrival time of the first process should be continuing its execution. Currently running process, we cannot remove that process from the CPU, but in SRTF the Gantt chart would be this type. Okay, in SRTF, although we focused on burst time, but we can remove that process, okay, for such a condition. Which condition? The newly arrived process, if the newly arrived process is having minimum burst time than that of the remaining burst time of the currently running process. As per that condition, we draw the Gantt chart, and this type of Gantt chart we can see P1 is coming first, as P1 is first in the ready state, has arrived at the ready state first for 1 millisecond, and then P2 would continue its execution for 1 to 3 millisecond, and after that P3, P5, P4, and the final termination time also 12. So as per the Gantt chart of FCFS, SJF and SRTF, we have to calculate the average waiting time and the average turnaround time. Fine. Okay. So let us find out the completion time for FCFS, non-preemptive burst. Okay. See, what is the completion time for this Gantt chart? For P1, this is as simple as possible. FCFS, the final completion time would be 5. Okay. Then at what time a process has completed its execution? Okay, a process is terminated. For P2, the completion time would be 7. For P3, that is 8, P4, this 11, and for P5, the completion time is 12. Okay. So let us find out the turnaround time. Okay. So what is turnaround time? Completion time minus arrival time. Okay. That time interval is known as turnaround time. So let us find out the turnaround time. 5 minus 0, that is 5. 7 minus 1, that is 6. 8 minus 2, that is 6. 11 minus 3, that is 9. 12 minus 4, that is 8. So this is the turnaround time, and let us find out the waiting time. Okay. So waiting time would be turnaround time minus burst time. Okay. So first, for non-preemption version of FCFS, the waiting time would be turnaround time minus burst time. So 5 minus 5, that is 0. 6 minus 2, that is 4. 6 minus 1, that is 5. 9 minus 3, that is 6. 8 minus 1, that is 7. This is the waiting time. So let us find out the average waiting time and turnaround time. Okay. So in FCFS, we see that the average turnaround time is 34 by 5, that is 6.8, and the average waiting time is 4.4. And let us find out the SJ version of algorithm, that is non-preemption version, and let us find out the average turnaround time and the average waiting time. Okay. Let us find out the completion time of this Gantt chart, SJ version. So for P1, what is the termination time? That is completion time is 5. So for P2, that is 9. For P3, 6. For P4, the completion time would be 12. And for P5, that is 7. Okay. So let us find out the turnaround time. 5 minus 0, that is 5. 9 minus 1, that is 8. 6 minus 2, that is 4. 12 minus 3, that is 9. 7 minus 4, that is 3. Then let us find out the waiting time, turnaround time, and minus burst time. Okay. So 5 minus 5, that is 0. 8 minus 2, that is 6. 4 minus 1, that is 5. 9 minus 3, that is 6, and 3 minus 1, that is 2. Okay. So let us find out the average turnaround time and waiting time. The average turnaround time and waiting time would be, so average turnaround time would be 5.8 and the average waiting time would be 3.8. So for FCFS that would be 6.8 and at 4.4, and for if we apply the non-preemptive version of SJF, then the average turnaround time and waiting time would be 5.8 and 3.8. And if we apply the preemption version of SJF or shortest remaining time first, SRTF version, then the completion, let us find out the average turnaround time and average waiting time. Okay, let us find out the completion time. Okay, for P1, just find out what is the termination time of the P1. For P1, that is 12. Don't look at this. Okay, at what time P1 is terminated. Okay, for P1 the completion time would be 12. For P2, that is 3. For P3, for P4, that is 8. For P5, the completion time would be 5. Okay, so turnaround time, completion time minus arrival time. Okay, so turnaround time of the P1 would be 12, then 2, then 4 minus 2, that is 2, 8 minus 3, that is 5, 5 minus 4, that is 1. And the waiting time would be turnaround time minus burst time. Okay, so 7, 0, 1, 2, 0. Okay, let us find out the average turnaround time and average waiting time. Okay, so the average turnaround time for SRTF, it gives 4.4 and the average waiting time would be 2. Okay, so just see, if you take any numericals, if you take any problems and any numericals and you apply all of the algorithms to that numericals, the SRTF will guarantees you the minimal average waiting time and average turnaround time. Okay, next advantage is better response time than FCFS, because in FCFS we focused on the arrival time of all the processes. Which process comes first at the ready state will be assigned to the CPU at first. Which comes first, then it would be allocated to the CPU at first. That is the FCFS. But in SRTF, if we talk about the SRTF, then we solve the problems, we terminate that process, CPU used to terminate that process as soon as possible, as early as possible. Okay, so that's why the response time would be minimal than FCFS. I am not saying that SJF will not gives you the minimal response time and minimal average turnaround time and waiting time. SJF also gives the minimal average waiting time, average turnaround time and average waiting time than FCFS, but SRTF guarantees you to gives the minimal average turnaround time and waiting time and response time. Okay, response time means at what time a process allocate to the CPU when it arrive at the ready state. Okay, that is the response time. So we used to complete the process in SRTF as early as possible. So there may be chance that response time would be minimal in SRTF. Next advantage is it provides a standard for other algorithms in case of average waiting time, as it gives the minimal average waiting time than other algorithms. So let's find out the disadvantage of this both version of algorithms, preemption and non-preemption. Okay. Next advantage is maximum throughput. SRTF gives you the maximum throughput. What is throughput? Throughput means how many processes are executing per unit time. Okay. For example, let's say we draw the Gantt chart. Suppose there are 5 processes are there. Okay, P1 to P5, and suppose the time, obviously the assumption is time is starting from 0 to, suppose it execution time ends at 22 milliseconds. Okay, so this 0 to 22, this is called scheduled. Okay, this is called scheduled. And how many processes are there? 5 processes are there. So total time would be 0 to 22, that is 23 milliseconds. If there are 5 processes executing in 23 milliseconds, then in 1 millisecond, how many processes are there executes? That is 5 by 23, that is the throughput. Okay. So in FCFS, SJF or SRTF, all the algorithms throughput would be same. This would be same. This final execution time would be same because the processes are same, right? But SRTF gives you the maximum throughput. If you go in this line and stop at this point and you count down the throughput, then it would be less than other algorithms. Okay, so throughput means how many processes are executes in per 1 milliseconds. Okay, so the SRTF preemption version of algorithm gives you the maximum throughput. Overall throughput would be same for preemption and non-preemption. Overall throughput, overall time would be same for all the algorithms, and process would be same for all the algorithms. But the SRTF in SRTF, it gives the maximum throughput than that of SJF or FCFS of non-preemption version. Okay, fine. So the main disadvantage of this preemption version of algorithm, that is SRTF, or I am talking about SRTF, the main disadvantage is it cannot be implemented. So there is a question, there is a doubt, then if it is not be implemented, then why we apply this algorithm? Okay, if it cannot be implemented. See, why it cannot be implemented? In FCFS, just compared to this preemption version of algorithm to the non-preemptive version. In non-preemptive, we only focused on arrival time of the process. At what time a process would arrive at the ready state, and that process would assign to the CPU at first. Okay. So in non-preemption version, we focused on arrival time only. But in preemptive cases for SRTF, we can forcefully remove that process from the CPU during its execution. Okay, for what condition? I already in the previous class I have told you, the condition is if the newly arrived process is having shorter burst time than that of the remaining burst time of the currently running process, which is currently running in the CPU, then at that condition we can remove that process forcefully from the CPU. So the main focus of the SRTF is what? Burst time, CPU time. Okay. So this burst time is called as CPU time, how many time a process is executing in CPU. So that is a doubt actually. We know the arrival time of the each process, but the CPU cannot assume the burst time of the each process. Okay, we cannot assume, we cannot guarantee how many time a process, if 5 processes are arrived at the ready state, suppose P1, let P1, P2, P3, let 3 processes are arrived at the ready state, and we know the arrival time of the each processes. We can assume the arrival time. This process has come at the 0 millisecond or 2 millisecond or 3 millisecond, whatever. Okay, but we cannot assume the burst time of the each process. How many time a process will executes in the CPU, we cannot assume that. We cannot calculate that. So that is the main disadvantage. That's why we cannot implement this preemption version of algorithm. Next disadvantage is starvation problem. Okay, in the previous class I have already told you what is the difference between convoy effect and the starvation. Okay, so FCFS gives you the disadvantage mainly convoy effect. So the minimum, if convoy effect means the process which arrives at first, whether it is having the higher burst time, but it will be executing first, and the minimum burst time, and the process which arrived late, whether it is having the minimum burst time, it has to wait for the first process. Okay, so the minimum burst time, the process is having minimum burst time, have to wait for the process which is having higher burst time than that. So that is the convoy effect. Okay, but starvation problem is what? Starvation problem is a processor is biased to another process. If a process is currently running in the CPU, then at that time CPU is biased to another process. Okay, see, I am giving an example. If you go to a shopping mall, okay, and you're buying 100 burgers. Okay, there is a counter boy, there is a counterpart. If you buy 100 burgers and you reached at the ready state, suppose you reached at the counterpart at first time, but you have 100 burgers. Okay, but after you, besides you, there is another person, there is many person which is having 2 or 1 or 3 or 4 burgers, let's say. But in this case, the counter boy, what it will do? It will bills the another person which is having the less burgers than you. As whether you comes first at the ready state, as your burst time is higher, that's why you have to wait again and again. Okay, that is the starvation problem. Okay, so in preemptive cases, the main disadvantage is starvation problem. Due to the higher burst time, you have to wait, the process have to wait again and again. Maybe there is another person come which is known to that counter boy, then the counter boy also bills to that person. Maybe another person will again come which is a VIP person. So obviously VIP person is higher priority than you. Okay, so that is the starvation problem. Due to time quantum or due to any priority, you have to wait again and again. Okay, not for the higher burst time, also there is a priority cases is there, due to why SRTF face starvation problem. This is the disadvantages. Okay, so these are the advantage and disadvantage I'm discussing in this videos of the preemption and both preemption and non-preemption version. In the next video, I'll discuss about the priority scheduling. Till then, take care. Bye bye.